Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 25 of my How to Make Video Games tutorial series. In this part, we're going to continue making Zelda, and I'm going to completely set up all the game assets and create the entire board using all of the sprites that we made in the previous tutorial. This is going to be rather tedious, so if you want all of everything that I create in this tutorial, I'll provide a link so you can download the entire project, and that will be in the description underneath the video. And I have a lot to do, so let's get into it. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to need to do here, of course, is open up Unity and click on New. And I'm, of course, going to change the name to Zelda, and this is a 2D project, of course. Click on this guy here, and we're going to go into Unity, on my Unity folder where I've been storing everything. And everything works the same on Windows as well as on Macintosh, of course. And I'm going to click on New Folder. And here I'm going to call this Zelda. And you can see my Zelda assets down here. Well, I actually already have a Zelda folder. All right, so that works. And so we're going to select that folder. And I'm going to click on Create Project. And Unity's going to open up, and then inside of my assets folder, just like I always do, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a whole bunch of different folders. So I'm going to have animations, and I am also going to have prefabs, and we're going to have scenes and scripts and sounds, and finally sprites. And for our sprite folder, I'm going to open up the artwork that I went and created. It is called 16 by 16 sprites, and it's a ping file. I'm going to drag that over into my sprites folder. Then I can close that. And then I can click on my sprites folder, and you're going to see everything right here. I have to set up all of these sprites, of course. So to do that, I'm going to set my pixels per unit to 16 because everything is 16 by 16. And of course, the filter mode is going to be point since we're working with pixel art. My compression is going to be high quality. My sprite mode is going to be multiple instead of single. And then I'm going to click on my Sprite Editor. I'm going to click on Apply, and here is the Sprite Editor that we have. I'm going to come up here and click on Slice, and I'm going to come in and go Grid by Cell Size, and of course everything is 16 by 16, just like we covered previously. And one thing that really helps here a lot is to print out the sprite sheet and then put numbers on it so that you'll be able to refer to that sheet and easily pull the sprites onto your scene that you need. And of course I'm going to click on Slice, and then click on Apply. And there we go. And now we can open this up and take a look at all of the sprites that we went and created and that were transferred over. Okay, so really, really useful. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my main camera. I am not going to mess with the background color right now. I'm going to do that after I have already set up everything. So leave that blank for now. I'm going to change my size, however, to 8 because that seems to be about the right size for the pixels that I'm using. And I know that I want this to be about 25 by 18, and I want my camera to be focused in the lower left-hand corner of my screen. So I'm going to come in here for my position, change that to -13, since I want it to be 25 wide. And then the Y really doesn't matter at this moment. I'm going to be moving that around. I'm going to set that to, -5. All right, so that's going to put that into position. And everything else here, I can leave exactly as it is. Now I'm going to create a whole bunch of empties that are going to hold all of the different types of sprites that I'm going to be using inside of this. And I have to think about how I want them lined up on our screen. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change this to hills. And I'm going to create an empty for each one of these. And then I'm going to create sorting layers so they all lay on top of each other. So I'm going to have trees. And I'm just thinking about all of the different types of assets and how they are going to stack on top of each other. That's all that I'm doing right now. So I'm also going to have dirt, and I'm going to have a house that you're going to be able to walk into. Create another empty. I'm going to have grass, of course. Whoops, have to select that. Change that to grass. And I'm also going to have stones. Don't know how many, but I want to be able to pick up stones and throw them and do things like that. A lot of animation in this, this specific game. I'm going to have my weapons, and that's going to be weapons that I'm going to be able to pick up and then use inside of the game. And I'm also going to have Link, of course, and then I'm going to have villains. So I'm sorting everything so that I can have everything line up and make sense. Okay, so I got all that set up. Very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my dirt layer. And the sprite that I'm going to be working with, I have the picture sitting in front of me. It's labeled, and that is 10. So that is my most basic type of dirt. So I'm going to grab that guy, the sprite 10, and I'm going to throw it into my dirt area. And then I'm going to position that. I want that positioned in the 0, 0 space. Another thing that I want to do here. Let's change this to negative, I guess I'll have this be negative 13 and 5 again, just like I did previously. So let's check that out. So I got negative 13 and negative 5. Let's see if I'm thinking in the right way. Well, that's going to put it directly in the center of the screen, which I do not want. Well, actually, if I think about it, I probably want Link to always be in the center of the screen. So let's just have him be like that. So doing that, I can just change these all to zeros then, and then have this also be zeros. And then my dirt sprite is going to be 0, 0. And I'm going to set it up this way because what I want to do is I want to create a master game board array, and I want to put inside of it places where Link can travel and then other places where he cannot travel. So it's going to make a lot of sense to have that in the 0, 0 position. And now what I can do is go and duplicate all of these. So I have, this is my dirt. So I'm just going to call it dirt, and I'm going to call it dirt 10 just so that I know where in the sprite sheet it lies. So there's dirt 10, and I can go and duplicate that. And I'm going to put basic dirt around the entire outline of my entire game. And how I'm going to do that is just change this to 1. And you can see that they all lay it out right next to each other, and I can zoom in here if I want to. So what I'm going to do here is create a whole bunch of duplicates and lay out the dirt on the screen exactly like I did. Here, I'll show you once again. So I'll just change that to 2, and there you go. Okay, so I went and drew a box basically with that basic dirt, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw more dirt later on. We'll get more back into that excitement later on. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my grass down here and then just sort of work it in from the outside in, because that's what works best for me. All right, so and I refer to my sprite sheet, and part 15 is the very bottom of the grass area. So I'm going to go and get this and drag it over here and drop it into the grass. I'm going to call this grass 15. So grass 15, that's good. And it's in the 0, 0 position, exactly where I want it. And you can see here, it's good to do it this way because you can see the dirt there and everything else, and it all matches up and looks good. All right. Now after that, what I want to do is I want to put in like a little bump for the grass. So I got to go and refer to my sprite sheet again and look for the part that is that little bump, and that is going to be sprite 16. So I'm going to grab that, drop it inside of there, and let's move it over into the 1 position. You can see that lays right in there. And then I'm going to rename this grass 16. All right, so there that is. All right, and then what I'm going to do is make a copy of grass 16, and then I'm going to flip it. So we got grass 16 here, and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to move it over 1 space, and then I can come in here and flip it by clicking on this little X like that. And that's off by a little bit. So let's move it over, say 1.5, something like that. And you can see there that it lines up really good. And then inside of my array, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to block off the whole bottom row area so that I don't have to worry about that. So, or worry about the fact that it's at 1.5 instead of in a fixed area. Okay, so let's do another duplication. And then I'm going to move this over to 2.5, I believe, yes. And then we'll flip it again by unchecking this. And you can see that it goes and, fits right in there, and it looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a whole bunch more of those grass areas and block that in exactly the same way. Okay, so I have 5 of these little bumps right here, and of course you can design this however you want. I'm just doing it this way. So what I want to do now is I want to fill in sort of like the side of the hill, and I have a sprite for that as well, and that is going to be at 45. So 45, and there it is. So I'm going to get this guy, drag it in here, and where do I want this to be? Sort of trying to think to myself. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to go and I'm going to select all these guys, and I'm going to put them instead in the hills part. So let's just grab them and let's put them in hills instead of grass. What I'm going to have with grass is going to be the grass that's specifically directly over the dirt instead of, you know, just referring to everything as grass. All right, so 45 is what I'm going to do here now. Let's first uncheck that, and then let's get 45 and let's drag it into the hills area. And we can change this into, I don't know, let's just call it, maybe, you know, now I'm thinking about it. Let's just leave it the way it is. All right, so we got grass 45, and then I'm gonna click off of that, and I'm gonna position it up 1. And there you go. You can see that that lines up pretty good. And let's go and duplicate that, and let's take it up another one. So there you can see they all are lining up with each other. And then I want to have it sort of turn out, and I'm gonna have the hill sort of go out a little bit, and that is going to be in position 25, I believe. And that is this one? Nope, it's not 25. That is going to be 38. So that's this one right here. So let's grab 38 and drag him into the hills, and we'll just call this grass again, 38. And then we will position it above that. So that's going to be in the 3rd position. And there you can see it all is going together. And then I need to put 39 next to that. So here's 39. Let's go get it, drag it into hills. And you can see I'm just positioning everything here. So that's going to, let's say that is 4 up, right? Yes, I believe so. And then that's going to be 1 in, maybe. Okay, and then I'm going to have to, then it's going to be 1 down, so it's going to be 3. All right, and you can see exactly how we were able to put those in there and position everything to make it look pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this guy here go up. So that is going to be 15. That's going to be another 15. So let's just get that and let's duplicate that. And then we can also drag these guys around if we, we don't want to know, whoops, we don't know exactly what it is. Well, it's definitely not 400. What happened there? Okay, let's put this back into 0 position. And then we will drag this over until it is roughly where I want it. Whoops, it keeps going a little bit too high here. All right, let's try that again. All right, I'm zoomed way in here, so that's the reason why I'm having a couple issues with life. All right, so we got that there. And, well, I don't know. Let's just go and do like 8, something like that. No, it's not 8. Let's do 10. It's not 10. It's going to be 11. Oh, it's going to be 10. And then we are going to flip it. So, boom, like that. And that looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it transitions directly into that. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing with this guy right here. Just going to duplicate that. And then that was 11, right? So let's move it into the 11 spot. And then it's going to be 11 this way, right? And then it's going to be 1 up. And actually, let's move it over 1 to the 10 spot and flip it. And you can see exactly how that's set up. So now I'm going to go and position some of these guys together. All right, so I got all of those laid in. Now what I'm going to do is go and I need an edge for this. And I believe that's going to be 36. Looks good. Once again, just dragging these guys in here, and then we can position them. So let's, I don't know, try like 6. Nope. And we'll do 7, and then we can raise it up into position, and now we can start to make our edges. And I'm going to go and do that, and then I'm going to go and get these bumps and put that up inside of here as well, so that we can sort all of this stuff out. Okay, so we're getting along here, and it's coming together fairly well, and you can see all the different pieces. I'm just doing the same thing, moving things into place. But one thing is sort of causing some issues is the fact that if I switch back and forth between the dirt and the hill or the grass or whatever, it is, covering each other up. So how we're going to correct that is, look at all that grass. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into sorting layer. And I'm going to create a whole bunch of sorting layers here. So Now you have to think about what is going to be on the top, or actually probably what makes more sense is what's going to be on the bottom. So the default is going to be the default thing by sure. And what we're going to do here is the very, very bottom thing. I think it makes sense for that to be dirt. So we're going to have dirt be on the bottom, and then we are going to have our grass be on top of that. And then we are going to have our hills. So we're going to have a hill. And then after the hills, we will have trees. And then we will have our house. And then we will have our stone. And then we can put in another layer for our weapons. Those are once again going to be the weapons that they can pick up and use, or that Link can pick up and use. And then we will have our villains. And then last but not least, we will have Link himself. All right, so we have all those all set up. Now what I'm going to do is go into, this is actually labeled grass, but it's actually the hills. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to select every single one of those, and I'm going to go sorting layer, and I'm going to put that as hill. You can see that popped up right there. And then I'm going to have my dirt set up, and I'm going to select every single one of those, and then I'll switch it sorting layer to dirt. All right, and now I won't have any problems. And now what I'm going to continue doing here is I'm going to continue putting in my dirt and my hills, and then I will see you when I get done with that. Okay, so I have everything filled in here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this grass area that's right here where there's nothing, and that's at 25. There it is. And let's just grab it and throw it in right here, and there it is. And I can just call that grass like I did before. And it went to the 0, mark, which is way down here in the bottom of the screen. And I can just go and move it up into position. And it's not showing because I don't have it set for this sorting layer of hill. There it is right there. And then I can just change this to 4. And then we'll just do some more duplications of that and change this to 1. And then continue to do that until we have filled in all of those grass areas. All right, so I got all of my hills and my dirt all set up. Now what I want to do is start spreading some grass around on top of the dirt area. So let's go and get rid of all of this and go into the grass section. And I have those at pixel 20 and 30, and I'm just doing this by eye. I'm gonna go and try this one right here and just drop it in there. You can just play around with this, have fun with it. And I'm gonna call this grass also because I'm feeling creative with that. All right, so we got that, and let's just figure out where we want to put it. Let's say I want to put it like right here. So let's move it over a little bit, and see, I'm going to change its sorting layer here. So sorting layer to grass, and now you can see it there. And I'm going to move it up a little bit. And let's say I want to put it like this, but I want it to flip it. So I just flipped it. Now let's do the Y flip. All right, so that's good. And let's move it over into position. I'm just going to move it in here so that it adds a little bit of panache to our little design. So here's 3. And let's try 9. That's not good. So let's try 10. All right, and you can't really see it, but you will see it here in a second. So, you know what? Maybe actually, let's take it to 9, and we'll put another grass next to it and try that out. And my other grass is going to be at 30. So we'll get this guy here, and then those are the only 2 grasses I need to be able to do all this work. So that's good. And we'll get this, and we'll call this grass 30. And maybe I should have come up with better names, but, you know, it works out for me right here. And especially since I only have 2 of them. And let's move this up so that I can see it. And then we'll rotate it on the side. So let's do something like, that's not going to matter. Let's try Y. Actually, let's try rotating it all together. And to rotate it, I'm going to come over into rotation Z, and let's try like a -90. That works. And let's move it up, and then let's move it to the right. And then I'm just going to change this to, whoops, let's change the sorting layer once again to grass. And you can now see it. And then change this to 10, and then change this to 3. And that looks pretty good. All right, so then we're going to add some more grass, but I'm just going to basically just duplicate what I have here. So I have grass 20 right there, and let's duplicate that. And then let's move it up or to the left, and then let's move it, and let's just change that to 8, and we'll change this to 4, and that goes in there and adds a little bit of something to it. And maybe I should have put the dirt inside of here first off. Why don't I just do that? So I'm going to unselect that, select this, and then I'm going to go and duplicate that and change that to 8. And you can see I'm just moving things around here. And let's duplicate that again, change that to 9, and then duplicate, and I'm just gonna throw in some dirt everywhere where I plan on having the grass show up, which is basically gonna be from here, and it's gonna circle up around and then sort of like end up here. So I'm gonna fill in dirt in all those areas. Okay, so I have some dirt inside of here, and now we're gonna go and get some more of the grass and duplicate it. So 30 and duplicate that. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna get rid of the rotation on it. So let's change it to that, and then let's go and flip it, and then let's move it up into position. See if that looks good. Let's change this to 8 and then change this to 5. Then I'm going to select this one right here and do another duplicate of that, and let's move it up again and then move it over some more. And I think you get the point. And I'm going to go and fill in all of these different grass areas. And of course, as I'm doing this, keep everything 7 and 6, individual numbers. All right, so I got those all filled in, and then 83, I believe, is going to be my fill color. Let's see if that works out or not, and we'll just call this grass again, grass 83, and sorting layer is going to be grass, and then we'll move this around to see if we can find it, and we'll move it up in the air, and there it is, and it looks like it might be the right color. I think I did that right. Maybe not. Maybe I did. We'll find out. Yes, I did. So I'm going to then fill in all the empty spaces with this sprite right here. Okay, so I have the grass filled in over here. You can see it down there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in a little bit more grass. So I might as well just come over here and let's go grab this guy right here and copy it or duplicate it, whatever. And let's move it over to the other side. And let's move this over here. And like I said, just moving stuff around here until things look kind of nice. And I'm going to move it, let's say right about in this vicinity here. And then let's change that to 22. And then let's move it downwards. And now what I'm going to do is just fill in some grass down at the bottom. Okay, so I have all of that set up. Now what I want to do is I want to fill in some of these areas with like another random hill inside of here, just because, I don't know, it just sounds like the thing to do. So I'm going to come in and select that and do another duplication, and let's go and move it over in this general vicinity, and let's try moving it right about here or something like that. That looks like that might work out good. And then I'm going to go and drag in a whole bunch of hill pieces until I have another hill here. Okay, so I have all of that set up. Here are my little hills in the middle of nowhere. And what I'm going to do now is I want to try to make a tree. So the trees are going to be 18, 19, 28, and 29 for my sprite sheet. So that is 18. I'm going to just drag that inside of here. Whoops, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create an empty inside of the tree area. So let's go create, and let's call this tree sprite. Or what would I call this here? I don't know. Tree sprite. All right, so that works. Or actually, you know what? I can just call it tree. I called this trees. Okay, so let's call this tree. And then we'll drag this into the trees, and then I'll drag those into the individual part that we have inside of here. So those are all zeroed out. So I'll go tree, and I'm going to grab 18 and drag that into there. So there's 18 and 19. Drag that in there also, and 28 and 29. I have all those, so 28 and 29. So there we go. Works out good. And those are all down here in the bottom. And I'm actually going to select all these also and sorting layer and change them to tree, so they will all show up. And there they are. And then I just need to position all of these. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get this guy right here. Let's have it be 0, 0. And then this one I'm going to put in the, it's going to be up 1. And, or no, the X is going to be 0 and the Y is going to be 1. And then I'm going to get to the next part, and this is going to be 0 and, no, this will be 1 and 1. And there you can see that went into place. And then we'll change this. The X will be 0 and the Y will be 0. And then I will get the last one, and that is going to be X1 and Y0. And there we have our tree. And then I can select all these guys. Let's just go and call this tree. Actually, it's not even going to matter, but I'm going to call that tree like that. And select that tree, and I'm going to go and create a prefab for these trees, and then I'll be able to drag my trees around on the screen. So there's all those guys, and then I'll select my tree all together, grab it, drop it in the prefab section, and then I can go and select all this and delete it out of there, and then grab my prefab tree and drop it inside of there. And then I can find some place I'd like to put a tree inside of the game board. And let's just say, for the heck of it here, let's say I want to do the tree and position it. And you can see it all moves all together, which is cool. All right, let's say I want to put a tree like up here somewhere. So let's grab it, and you can see the tree's moving. Whoops, that went out of control. All right, let's just make it like 20. Okay, I went a little bit too far. Let's go and grab a tree, and let's throw it over here somewhere. So let's put it something like in this general area, and we'll go and change that to 20, and then we'll change this to 14. And then we'll also go and get a couple more trees. Let's just duplicate this, and we'll move it over a little bit. Let's say we want to have a tree in this 15, and then we'll take it up a little bit, something like that. And I'll change that to 16. Whoops, change that to 16. And then we'll do another duplication of that tree, and we will change that. Let's see what, I'll change it to 14 and see what that's not enough. 13. Okay, so there's some trees that Link can sort of walk around, and maybe later on we will go and add in some more trees. But you can see right here how we're filling in our game board, so it's starting to look a lot nicer. Now what I want to do is I want to go and get some different sprites of interest for my dirt area. So I'm going to go, since there is stuff here, let's say I want to throw some leaves in here. So I'm going to go once again, now I'm in my dirt area, and I want to go and get my sprite prefabs. And if I want to put the leaves inside of there, that is going to be sprite 12. So we'll just go and grab that and throw it in the dirt section right there. And we'll just call that dirt 12. And then I can grab it, and let's just position it somewhere. So we'll go and position it maybe like over like this and up a little bit, and there you can see it is showing up now. And then I'll just change this to 2, and then I'll change that to 2. And then I want to get, let's say I want to put some bushes here so that I can like cut the bushes down. Well, the bushes are going to have a stump after they're cut down, and those are going to be 14. So let's go and get this and drag it and sort of like just throw it inside of here. I can't do that. So let's go up here and throw it in the dirt section. So there's 14. Drag that there and change this to dirt 14. Let's just select the whole thing. Dirt 14. And then we'll position that next to it. So that's going to be like over here, and then move this up into position. And then I'll get it in position perfectly right here. I'll change that to 3, change that to 2. And then let's say I want to have a couple bushes next to each other, like, you know, they're set up in the game. So I'll throw another one there. And then I'm going to throw the bushes on top of it later. So duplicate again and change that to 5. And then let's go and get like an interesting sort of rock formation. So 17 is an interesting rock formation. So once again, back up into the top of the dirt. Grab that, and then move that into position. And maybe we want to put that like right in this general vicinity right here. And we'll move this up into this general area right there. And change that to 1 and change this to 9. Let's change it to 8. And maybe also go and duplicate that and throw that rock up here a little bit. So let's grab it and then let's drag it over here a little bit. And something like in this general vicinity. So that's going to be like 5, and that's going to be 6. And then we have our flower, and the flowers are going to be in 11. So we'll go and get 11 once again, drag that into there. And oops, I didn't name these differently. So let's change this to dirt 17. And then this is going to be dirt 17 also. And this is going to be 11, dirt 11, and we'll move that up into position. So that's over there underneath the green stuff. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's get rid of that altogether. Let's leave that back. Can I make it go back to where it was? Yes, now it's down there. Okay, so the 11's the one that I want to play around with. So let's move it up into this area. And as you can see, I'm just moving around all of the different parts just around on my screen here a little bit, just to make everything a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to continue doing that here for a little bit until I have all those positioned. Okay, so I have little points of sprites of interest or what have you here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do a similar thing with our house. So I'm going to go and grab my house. And you know what I'm going to rename this houses just so I can be lazy and then go create empty and go house inside of it. I'm not planning on having multiple houses, but you know, in this one area, but whatever. Okay, so I got a house here, and the house parts are going to be 22, 23, 24. So that's going to be 22. There you are. So 22, 23. Let's open this up a little bit, and so we can see it a little bit better. 23 and 24. And let's go and put this at our 0, mark again, just so we can have it there. You know what? I'm only going to be working with one house, so, you know, why don't I just go and we'll do 0. But I'm gonna just, rather than make a prefab of that, I'm just gonna put everything in place. All right, so let's just grab this and get this one as well. So house, and then I can go and get all these different pieces and move them into position. So let's go and put it something like, and there it is. There's our first piece of our house. And let's say I'm just going to line it up inside of this general vicinity here. Let's go put it in right about there and something in that ballpark. So let's just change this to 16 and change this to 9. And then I can grab the next part, and this will be 17 and 9. And then the next part after that is going to be 18 and 9. We'll drag that there, and then we'll go, you know what, it kind of looks kind of silly. Let's go and, whatever, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so the next row of the house is going to be 32, 33, 34. So 32 and 33 and 34. So just throw that in there, and whoops, it's way down there now. And I'm going to go rename these as well. So there's house 32 and house 33 and house 34. And I'm going to do the same thing to position all those guys. And there we go. I got my house inside of there, and I'm just going to keep one house, and then of course make sure that the sorting layer for this, and we can just select the all groups inside of there, and we'll just go and set those for house. All right, so now we got our house in order. All right, so what's the next thing that we want to do here? Well, the next thing's probably going to be we want to fill in all of the empty dirt areas and the stones and so forth. Okay, so I have all of my dirt in here, and I'm just going to have to basically put some bushes in, my weapons, a couple other different random things. I'm going to also, let's say, what's this? 50. Oh, that's stairs. So I'm going to take these stairs, I'm going to throw them on the dirt level because I think that is going to make sense. And why don't I go and give this a better name? Let's call this stairs. And this would be like if you're going down in a dungeon or something like that. And this is in the 21.8 spot. I want to put that. So 21 and 8. And there you see, you're going to see those stairs are right there. Hopefully you can see that. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go and put a stone over top of it. So the link will be able to go in there. See, here's stone, and stone is at 84. So there's 84. And I'm going to throw that over top of it. Okay, so I changed the name to Stone 84 for that. And I'm going to put that in the same position. So 21 and 8. Okay, so now we have the stone over top of the stairs, and now whenever Link picks the stone up and throws it and breaks it, we'll have the stairs underneath there. And what else do I need? Oh, I need my bushes. I forgot that somehow. So I'm going to have another thing, and I'm going to have to go create empty, and we'll call this bushes. So bushes, and then I have to also go and create another one. My bushes are going to be 6, right? Yeah, there's bush. So let's go get my bushes and drop that in there. Let's just call this bushes, bush 6. So there's bush, and I'm gonna have to create another sorting layer. So I don't have a bush layer. No, I do not. Add sorting layer, and I will call it bush, of course. And then I'm going to put it like right above the tree. That seems like a good place. So let's go get this. And let's go and change the sorting layer there to bush. And then we will position the bush in all of these different areas. Whoops, where we already have the stuff. There it is over there. Bring it in the middle and zoom in on it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what this is right here, what that bush area is. So that's 3, 2. All right, so that's fine. So we will go and get this and then change it to 3 and then change it to 2. And it should have, oh, I know why it didn't move into position. Let's go and get bushes and change this to 0, 0. And there you see, now there's a bush there. See? Whoops. There's a bush right where it's supposed to be. All right, cool stuff. All right, so let's go and duplicate, create another bush here, duplicate, and then let's move it over 1. And you can see I'm placing all these bushes into place. Okay, so all the bushes are in place. Now all I have to do is put all the weapons in place. So let's go and get rid of this and the grass and the bushes, and then we'll have our weapons. So I want to put like a bomb up here. Let's put the boomerang here first, and that is Sprite 49. There's the boomerang. So let's go and drop it in there in the weapon area, and we'll call this boomerang. I think that's how you spell that. And we'll put that in position 811. And it's right there. Oops. And then I'm going to have to go and do sorting layer weapon. And there it is. And I'll zoom in there in a second. And also I'm going to put a bomb in there. So let's get this guy right here and drop him right there. And we'll call this bomb. And we'll do like explosions and things like that. It'll be very exciting. And actually, I'm very excited about this. This should be a lot of fun. And that's going to be, I'm going to put that in position like 116, something like that. There that is. Hey, maybe we'll put it a little bit higher than that. 17, I don't know. And then we got the bow and arrow. And that is like 77, I believe. So let's go drop that there and change this to bow and sorting layer weapon, of course, and let's put that over in the position of 23, 4, something like that. 23, and let's move it up 4, and there that is. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to get my main camera. I'm going to change my color, and I want it to be a color that's going to make sense. So it's 55A154. Same color green, and we could go in there and lay some trees around the outside. Let's play it, and you're gonna see right there is everything. And then what we'll be able to do is put some trees and, you know, other things to look at around the outside of it. And we'll put Link down here, and then we'll put villains in and a whole bunch of other different things. But there you go. There is the entire scene for our Zelda clone. And in the next part of the tutorial, I'm going to put Zelda in there and start animating them and doing all kinds of other cool things. So just like always, please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.